He said, what a thoughtful gift. He pulls a blue peanut M&M out of his pocket, throws it in his mouth and winks at me. And I'm like, if you can pay $7,000 a night, the peanut M&M is as valuable as the bottle of champagne for him.
We always say we're not the private jet company. Yeah? This is our claim, basically.
Time.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about time.
Congratulations, you're going to make your mother cry twice. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, every time a guest walks in or out of these doors, you remember that.
His first words were, I'm Fred, and how much of an idiot you are.
You need to tell one story.
Welcome at our new facilities. Reece, I'm so thankful and really happy that you took your time coming from all the way from Vienna to Austria here. Looking forward now to our chat. I'm sure, because I know you're about storytelling. You have a lot of things in your backpack to share, so I'm really looking forward. And maybe you can a bit explain what's your role and what you are responsible for at the Ritz-Carlton, because Ritz-Carlton for us in our partnership ecosystem is a very important partner. We are very proud to be partner of Ritz-Carlton. And it's not about partnership because over so many years developed friendship, and I'm happy to have friends here in our new facilities.
Well, thank you very much for having us, first of all. And so I've been 14 years with the Ritz-Carlton, 3 years with the Ritz-Carlton Vienna, and I am the director of leisure sales. Fun task and a daunting task, but one that I take on with a lot of pride, so thank you.
Cool, let's dive in.
I remember, and so speaking of value, and the very first time that you and I sat down in Pasta Mara, I mean, it was Jonathan, yourself, myself, and I think Jaid was there as well. And Lawrence was with us. Yeah. During COVID, I had too much time on my hands and too much time to think. So what I did is something that I don't advise anyone to do. I started criticizing the Ritz-Carlton at that point because I realized the Ritz-Carlton were launching their yacht collection. Yeah, Amman Hotels had just started to launch their private jet. And Four Seasons were reinventing their whole jet experience. And to me, the moment someone steps out of the door of their house until they get all the way back from whatever vacation trip, journeys, whatever you want to call it, it needs to be completely organized and it needs to be completely curated to that individual by someone of a Ritz-Carlton standard and level. And I remember when you were sitting in front of me in Pasta Mara, so I'd written the article, I then posted it on LinkedIn, obviously criticizing what it was, and I was like, oh shit, now this is my responsibility to fix it. And then I ended up vetting all of these, private jet brokers and all these private jet companies, and then you sit down and you said, what you were trying to create was an ecosystem of luxury. And I was like, this is it. You understand exactly the value that we're trying to do, because yes, it's four walls and a bed, but that's every hotel, whether it's,
correct.
It's a Holiday Inn.
Same here, it's a plane.
Exactly, it's a plane. But really the value is, what are you creating? Like that space, that community. And I think that's so important.
I agree. The one thing which is important as well to understand, you have to put yourself in the right position. Like we consider ourselves, I think like Ritz, it's about luxury. It's not, you cannot be everybody's darling. You have to be very clear in your message to your customer, to your audience, who you are, what you're offering, and where you are. And I think this is a key element. You can't be everybody's darling.
No. And luxury also is not, it's like to understand luxury is not easy for everyone.
Correct.
So if you're in luxury all the time, you think of it as a very different thing than someone who is not in luxury all the time. And so in my time in Cayman, I'll tell you a very, very funny private jet story actually. There was a gentleman, I won't say his name, obviously for protection reasons, let's call him Mr. Plane, okay? So Mr. Plane had two kids, his wife, and they came down to Cayman at least 2 or 3 times a year. I mean, I was significantly younger. I was behind the concierge desk, and I would watch them come in every year, and kids were growing, and then by like 8th year, I was there. Mr. Plane was there, and he's really, really nervous, and it's just him and his wife, Susie, and his first name is James. So I walk up to James, and I say, James, like, usually you're very relaxed. I mean, this is a resort, this is an island. Usually it's very chill. Like, is everything okay? He says, nah, I'm really nervous. The kids are flying down for the first time by themselves. And so I tried to make the joke of like make him feel better. I was like, oh, I'm sure you put them first class. It's fine. He's like, yeah, of course I did. I was like, so then what are you worried about? He says, you don't understand. They've never flown with other people before. And I was like, that's true. These kids were like kids. They were 17, 16 years old. But for him, the value was not about how much does it cost to put kids, like his children first class? The value for him was, I'm a dad, these kids are flying by themselves, I'm worried that they're not going to get there. 16 and 17 years old, flying first class to Cayman for the 5th time that year is not an issue. I remember like closing my mouth physically and just thinking, every time I walk into these moments again, I need to see it from their perspective, not from mine. Like it's a whole different mindset. Like the where that value was lying for him was clearly not where it was for me. Like it was a step up for me, a huge step down for him. It was a very, very funny situation. So
exactly, and this is about understanding the customer.
Yeah,
correct.
I mean, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. It's the same with so we have, obviously very nice signature suites in the hotel. And about a half a year ago, a gentleman checked into the hotel, and he's in our Albertina suite, this big, beautiful suite. And in the Ritz-Carlton, we have, it used to be called Mystique. Now it's called, GXP. It's basically your profile, so everything you like, everything you don't like, all your allergens, all your dietary restrictions, literally what your favorite color is. If we know it, it's going into the system and it's shared globally around the world for every Ritz-Carlton to utilize and everyone to leverage. And so what we did was, I look at this list of what his favorite things are. First of all, he's paying over $7,000 a night. He has La Grand Siècle champagne, which is what, a €300 bottle. He has white flowers for his wife, needs to be everywhere. There was a couple of other smaller things, but one of them was peanut M&Ms. So I have everything set up, right? Everything set up. His favorite snack is peanut M&Ms. Everything's there. I do the in-room check-in. I bring him to the room, leave them. I'm in the lobby about an hour later, and he comes down all excited and is shaking my hand like, thank you so much for this wonderful welcome. Da, da, da. He said, what a thoughtful gift. And I'm thinking it's his favorite bottle of champagne. No, like a little kid, he pulls a blue peanut M&M out of his pocket, throws it in his mouth, and winks at me. And I'm like, once again, it's one of these aha moments. Like, if you can pay $7,000 a night, the peanut M&M is as valuable as the bottle of champagne for him. And
I think it's all about attention to details, and those people are recognizing that. Yeah, and it's about appreciation. I think this is a more an emotional thing. They say, okay, someone really takes care and went the extra mile for me. Went the extra mile for me, and I think this is a huge value. Which actually is, to me, quite surprising that a huge organization, a chain like Ritz, can actually bring this DNA down to the team. I have more understanding when it's owner-run, when the owner's around and really has this intrinsically, this attention to details, and then, of course, he trains his team members and so on. But I'm impressed, deeply impressed, how such a large organization like Ritz-Carlton can bring this down to every
ladies and gentlemen. And it starts with the fact that we even call everyone ladies and gentlemen. Like, we would never say employee. We would never say we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. Like, we have a credo. There are service values. Actually, I was joking with the gents. Like, we carry them everywhere we go. It's part of our uniform. So I have, and I actually brought one for you just as a surprise. So this is yours now. But basically, on this, it's your service values. It's the 12 service values that you have. It's the 3 steps of service. It's, you have the 6th diamond. So this entire onboarding process, the employee promise, you also have the credo, and it all starts with I. And so you have a 2 onboarding, what we call orientation. It's 2 days before you're even allowed to go to your department, before you even talk to any guest. You go through 2 days of just being Ritz-Carltonized. And then, there's trainings on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But this is really your guiding force. And it was funny, I was talking with the marketing team before, that the fact that it's a physical presence on you at all times, I think gives people that value. And it gives you that this is mine, And it is very impressive. Horst Schulze, and when he designed this entire thing with the Ritz-Carlton. So the Ritz-Carlton also was very clever, because there are 3 Ritzes in the world. There's the Ritz Paris, the Ritz London, and then the Ritz in Madrid. So those are part of the heritage collection. They don't actually belong to us. But then what happened was, when someone realized, wait a second, all these individual Ritz-Carltons are everywhere in the world. Let's create, based on that collective story. We were talking about stories at the beginning. Using that story, let's build it so that this level of quality is just always there. And Hervé Hamler said it often. He's also one of the founders, is that inspect what you expect, because what you allow becomes your standard. And it's a very old school Ritz-Carlton thing we don't talk about as much anymore. But if you come in every day and whatever you allow, in theory, is your standard. It's not what you say where your standard is. If you allow, let's say, a fleck on the table, if you allow a glass to not be perfectly polished, that is your standard. Like, that's what everyone else is going to get. Where if your standard is, no, it has to be perfect, then that's where the world starts for the Ritz-Carlton. Everything above is what we empower our ladies and gentlemen to do, which is a huge component. And as much as, the Credo card and having that on you is one thing, but the Ritz-Carlton allowed this thing called empowerment. And so that we don't have to go to a GM, we don't have to go to a manager, you don't have to even go to a supervisor. If there's someone in front of you, you've walked into the Ritz-Carlton multiple times. Usually I do my grading with you, so I come and see you, but any person that sees you, let's say, for example, I don't know, you spill wine on your pants for whatever reason, what's going to happen is whoever sees that, from any lady and gentleman of the Ritz-Carlton, can fix that problem with €2,000 without even asking a single soul. They know that they have that empowerment. No one ever uses that full 2,000, but the fact that they know that they have that power, yeah. I think that's what really helps. So, but you keep that really high standard, and then you empower people to do everything above it.
So it's about doing normal things in an exceptional way.
Yeah.
And do it as often as you can.
Do it as often as you can. And so every day we have a CTQ, so a commitment to quality. Every Ritz-Carlton in the entire world sees the same sheet every day. Obviously it changes every day, but the same message is coming every single day, and you have to do line up. Like, you cannot go into the front of the house. You cannot even go into the back of the house without seeing that first. And that's where it all starts. So it's just doing things very simply, but they just add up over and over and over and over and over. And that consistency of adding up creates the exceptional. Like, you can swing for the fence once and you might hit it out of the park, right? But that's not the guy you're going to put on your team. It's the guy that gets on second base every single time he comes up to bat. Correct. Because he's going to score you more points. Like, the physical Ritz-Carltons, obviously we have the hotels, but we also have a leadership center. Oh, yeah. A lot of people don't realize that Apple, Starbucks, big companies, they pay the Ritz-Carlton from a leadership perspective to come in and teach their team how to do those things, so that they create empowerment, that this whole 3 steps of service. So the 3 steps of service is, there was an aha moment again. Most of my aha moments happened in Cayman with the Ritz-Carlton, because it was where I first started. And this actually the same hotel manager, Roger, walks up to me. I grew up in Montreal, and Cayman is a good 5-hour flight. I don't remember actually. So, but I'm about to fly back from Cayman to Montreal, and Roger Ponce comes up to me and says, "Oh, congratulations, you're going to make your mother cry twice." I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I just thought, what a weird thing to say. And he said, no, think about it. Like, when you arrive, your mother will be in tears, and then you have to leave again, and she'll be in tears. And he said, every time a guest walks in or out of these doors, you remember that. And I just remember thinking, oh, that's true. Like, when we meet, it's a handshake and a hug at the beginning, it's a handshake and a hug at the end. And it's the 2 most emotional aspects of anything. We know it intrinsically, but by having it written down and explaining to every single lady and gentleman, you have to hit these 3 steps. You have to hit a warm welcome, you use the guest names, and then you anticipate their needs, so this thoughtfulness part, and then you do a fond farewell. By just making it, that becomes your baseline standard, and that way every single person is going to get their name used twice, they're going to have all of their things taken care of, everyone that walks in out the door.
Touch points, yeah.
For me, it's so easy to remember because of how awkward Roger made me feel. Because it's true, my mother cried both times. Like, he wasn't wrong either.
Yeah, goosebumps actually.
Yeah. For me, it's a bit nostalgic actually thinking about some of these things because it has become so habitual and so natural.
I'm absolutely convinced that the onboarding phase is one of the most important things, because I think this is the chance, because usually this is the time of the employment, the first days, where you get the highest attention. Of course, there's a new team member joining, curious what's going on, new. On the other side as well, who is coming, who is joining. Yeah. So I think the level of attention is highest in those first days. And when you plant the right seeds those days, I think you can create a lot of values where you can build on. So I think the onboarding is very important. We show people every department. Of course, as you said, HR plays a big role. We talk about values and so on. And what is important to me, that everyone understands the DNA of our product. What is really about it, We always say we are not the private jet company. Yeah, this is our claim, basically.
Time.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about time. And as you just mentioned earlier, we need to understand the needs of our customer. Because flying from A to B, you can book any airline, or any other private jet operator, but we really are focused on this time piece. We bring back quality time. We are focused on saving time for our customers. And I think it's important that everyone, literally, from aircraft engineer up to pilots and then even accounting, have to understand that it's about time. And when people understand it's about time and not about private jets, you develop a completely different approach to the whole service we are providing. And I think this is key. And chances that you plant this seed in the very first days are very high when you bring the right message. Because very often at the recruitment phase, we ask people, okay, what are we selling? And you get very interesting answers. But we have also people coming and say, well, you sell time, obviously through whatever, social media and so on. But when someone said, okay, you sell time, and then ask, okay, what do you mean by that? And then if you get the right explanation, then we say, okay, he grasped the message.
It's the whole concept of simplicity is, whether it's from a leadership to the rest of the team, or even from a sales component to the client, anyone adding to something can complicate it. Like, you add the end of something on a sentence, doesn't matter what it is, you're going to complicate something. Genius is in making things really, really simple. Look at Apple and what Steve Jobs did. He made it so simple it's so
simplicity
genius.
and clarity. This is what people are looking for.
Yeah.
Not massaging around, hiding anything, or it's making it simple. Actually, I was once in a management training. It was quite interesting, and the task was write down your business model, what you're doing, and then present in front of the others, and you have 2 minutes for that. I said, 2 minutes.
2 minutes to present, or 2 minutes to write it down?
2 minutes to present.
Okay.
So you can use flip charts, you can whatever you want. You have 2 minutes. And we all were motivated. Okay, 2 minutes. I have to make it shorter and really nail it down. And then everybody did. Said, okay, very nice, clear. Now do it in 1 minute. I said, 1 minute. Yeah, go through, review what you have just prepared, present it, do it in 1 minute. I said, okay, people sat down, skip this, skip that, and so on and so forth. 1 minute, present it, and then I said, that's nice. Now in 20 seconds.
An elevator pitch, not even an elevator, one floor of an elevator.
And if you explain your business model in 20 seconds, it's tough. Of course, my pitch was, it's all about time, and then you learn by, really getting to the core that simplicity is key.
Travel sales industry, usually you have these speed date situations. And so you either have a 15-minute, 12-minute, some are 10.
I've seen that in this industry. Yeah.
I have, and there's one of them that do it for 6 minutes, right? How can you sell against everyone in 6 minutes? And when I first saw, and you're in Las Vegas, right? So there's 3,000 hotels, there's 3,000 travel advisors. They all have been there multiple times. They all have seen every hotel you can probably think of. And you're given 6 minutes to convince them. First of all, half of the time they're late, right? So you're like, fuck, 4 minutes, this is not gonna work. So what I had always done is, my name is Reece, so I bought Reese's peanut butter cups. I need them to remember it. So I would put it in front of them and I said, I know this is cheesy, but you need to remember my name is Reece. But I also did it because they would open the peanut butter cup and eat it immediately, which means they could not talk, which means they only could listen to me. And I would never show a slide. And that's why when you had put on your, don't use PowerPoints, fuck PowerPoints, that was such a clear message. And for me, it was the exact same message that I also have. I had never showed a slide in the 148 meetings that I had in a 3-day period, because in 6 minutes, they're not going to remember how many rooms you have or how many. You need to tell one story. And most often you need to tell a story about them, because most people want to hear about what they're doing. So I always flipped it what is the value that I'm going to bring you? And all of a sudden it's a whole different conversation. And hopefully with, the cheap tricks are also not the worst, but with the Reese's peanut butter cup and me telling them that they are the value for me, it worked. I mean, it's worked really, really well. I mean, it's helped me in everything that I've done. And because I don't even have to show a single slide. Everyone else is showing slides, and they remember me compared to anyone else. Yeah. We were talking about it before. The people who fly with private jet are going to stay at Ritz-Carltons. And that's why, they're going to be the ones buying the paddock passes. They're going to be the ones buying the Rolex or Jacob & Co. or whichever brand it happens to be. So LVMH are very clever because they've created an entire ring that the same person that's going to buy one thing is also going to be staying at their hotels. It's going to be the same one. And then you create an ecosystem. Yeah. And when you and I met, that's exactly what. And that's what 100% made sense. Why would we partner with Global Air? Because you're in the same ecosystem.
Yeah. I'm so convinced about this. It's about building an ecosystem. Yeah. And people coming from different angles. I had it actually experienced last week, that we had this big fire, obviously, of this power supply, equipment in Heathrow. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, people called me, never flew with us, never flew in private jet actually, but we learned them through our ecosystem. And you meet them once in a while and so on. And I was so happy because they had a problem because they had to go to London. And the first thing they had in mind is I called Global Air, because we created this strong bonding within this ecosystem. And both of them booked actually and had a great first time experience on a private jet. And they called afterwards, they're really excited and so good. This is the way to travel, and now I understand the product and so on. But by building this ecosystem, you creating a wider range of your audience, and you create values, and then you see at one point it comes back.
Yeah, but it's funny you're talking about like ecosystems. But people, I think, whether it's you can blame it as much as you want on social media or anything that's tearing like algorithms is separating the center. People are not coming together, or you don't have the neighborhoods that you used to. You don't have this like nest or tribe, whatever you want to call it. But you are starting to see in the luxury segments. I'm going to use the reference of McDonald's versus a Michelin star restaurant, right? Like McDonald's, you walk into. I mean, I have daughters, so they're little, so I have to also sometimes walk into a McDonald's. But I remember walking into McDonald's after probably 12 years, never walking into one. Everything was digital. You don't see a single human being. I think that the world of luxury is going to be more human driven. Maybe you won't have as many touch points with a person, but it is going to be that it's not that it's going to be luxurious to talk to a person, but the luxury is talking to other people. And so whether it's the personalization of getting onto a private jet and everything's taken care of, or walking to a Ritz-Carlton and you have this Ritz-Carlton ladies and gentlemen taking care of you, this whole tribe or this neighborhood thing is a bit disjointed. We have the package with Formula One right now, right? We're in partnership so that we can take people from the Ritz-Carlton Vienna, you fly them into Spielberg, you fly them back. But we realized only later that people are not traveling necessarily to watch Formula One only for Formula One. People are traveling to Formula One because they want to be part of this ring. They want to be in an ecosystem of people that also think, look, feel, and do the same things they do. And it's incredible that the same people you would see, or that we saw at Monaco Yacht Show, are the same people we were going to see at Formula One paddock passes, or the same people that are going to be on your jets, the same people are going to be in our hotels.
And I get this feedback multiple times from our customers that when we do this, what we did together already with these bespoke small events, very small group, that they said what they like is they meet like-minded people, and you create a platform where I feel comfortable. I know I can talk to people and having serious discussions, having fun as well. It's kind of protected, and this is what they appreciate. So actually, if you build an ecosystem, you build for your audience a platform where I come back to this point, they spend quality time and bring people together. This is what I see very often. I talk to people when we have some events and listen, Jim, you have to come here and talk to Joe because I think you are matching and I have figured it out that our events that we brought people together over years, and later on we get feedback. He does business with her, him, and so on, and we created with this, I think, very simple things, a multi-billion business in the back. Yeah, because people meet and they do business together. And I was actually quite surprised when we really tracked some of those success stories and businesses that the total value over the years is about billions.
Yeah.
What you just simply created by bringing people together.
Yeah. I never expected to be sitting in front of private jets having, a chat with you. Like, this is only because of reaching out and creating these partnerships. So,
I mean, you are in a service industry, of course, but what would you say is for you the number one thing why you are in the service industry? What is the bonding to this industry from your point of view? For yourself?
For me personally, stories.
Stories.
I love stories. I mean, people who know me well enough know that I like to stretch stories as well. Like, we have access to a very, very beautiful story, because if you stay in the symphony suite, the night before a series of concerts, there's something called a Generalprobe, which is a general rehearsal. It's basically a concert to an empty space. Now it's the two people. It's the two people that stay in our suite have access to this experience, and it's not a concert. I mean, I'm very lucky. I got to experience, and you walk in. I mean, first of all, it's the Konzerthaus in Vienna. So you open the doors and it's beautiful, and you're already blown away. And you walk in, and the music rises to some big crescendo, and then it goes quiet. And it's so quiet because there's no one there, and you realize that it's the conductor, it's all of the musicians, and you. And they went through about 5 or 6. The first time I did it, they went through 5 or 6 songs, and then the conductor just does this with his hands, and everyone stops, like silent dead. And I mean, he says in German, like nochmal, like again. And he, to these like 5 or 6 musicians, says again, again, again. He has them do it over and over and over. And at first I didn't realize, but every time they did, they were getting closer and closer and closer to perfection. And so when you watch a concert or you listen to a radio, it is perfect, right? But to watch the creation of perfection was something that I will take with me. And so being able to share that story, to share that experience, that people understand why that is. And
then, of course, you create out of stories memories.
Yeah.
Lifelong memories. And obviously, those good memories usually got shared. So they tell around.
Yeah.
And this is what I think what people are really looking for. Getting those stories, because then they hang on your lips, right? And actually, this is something which I love so much in our business and my job as well, because usually we have very interesting people on board, and if you have the chance to talk to them, everyone has its story, right? And by raising the right questions, they all share the stories, and you get insights. You can learn so much for yourself, which you never could pay for, right?
No.
And no book and no TV, no movie, nothing will give you the same learning experience. And that's why for me it's actually a huge part of quality of life. Having people sharing stories.
But where do you get those stories? Sitting around a campfire.
Yeah,
like we were talking about it before, that's why people come together. So you do these experiences, you have these memories, and then you share those with other people who are like-minded, and you find those people in certain rings, in certain environments, certain neighborhoods. And if you can, whoever's creating those environments, whoever's creating those ecosystems, they're the ones that are truly moving.
Yeah, I agree.
They're the ones that are allowing people to share, and that's that's what motivates me. I love hearing them and I love making them. So yeah.
Actually, this is a number one thing I would give as an advice to young people is travel as much as you can and as often as you can and learn different places. Yeah. I think if you start in your early age traveling and then as a teenager, just by yourself, backpacking and then and see the world, this opened up your mindset so much, and you get different cultures, different societies, multiple problems you have to face. I think traveling is one of the biggest learners in your life. Yep. At least it was to me as well. And if you look around, I can clearly see traveling is making you so much richer.
Yeah. So perspective for me is a very important thing, because depending on which angle you're looking at something, it's a completely different. I mean, I used it with for the example of the gentleman who had his kids flying private jets. It's a whole different perspective. I was looking from below, he was looking from above. Yeah. And when you travel, you start to see perspectives that you wouldn't naturally or normally see if you do the same routine every day. And the moment you can start sitting down on the table with someone who has nothing in common with you and still have a conversation, you've won. Like whatever it is in life, we talk about in the Ritz-Carlton these golden nuggets. Now, I'm going like this because we actually physically have golden nuggets. You have to go through a training, the golden nugget training. And once you get into this, like the moment you have a conversation with someone, there's going to be a golden nugget in any conversation that you have. Whether you call it golden nugget or lowest common denominator, whatever it is, there's going to be something that says, we can talk, we can do business, we can laugh. I mean, if you can laugh with someone, everything goes by the wayside. And so if we can create these environments and we can get that going, I think that's going to be, and it helps if you travel. It really, really does.
Yeah. I have an idea.
How did you get involved with Formula One? Like you guys are really well integrated into Formula One. How did that come about?
It is actually a very good question. So the true story behind is that I remember it was, I think, 2015. I had on my phone a German number calling me, and usually numbers I have not stored, I don't pick the phone. But I said, okay, it looks a very serious German number, And I picked the phone, and then some guy said, yeah, I'm Nico Hülkenberg. I want to talk about maybe some opportunities. And literally I said to Nico, yeah, here's the Pope. Yeah, and I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. But we got in a conversation, and eventually we ended up in a sponsorship with Nico. I think a year later, he called me and said, Bernard, you need to meet my team boss, which was back then Fred Vasseur, who is today the team principal of Ferrari. And he said, he want to talk to you. I said, okay, nice. So the PA of Fred was organizing a meeting. And I remember quite well, it was a few days before Christmas, 2016. I prepared myself very well, how many flights he did, what are his routes, from where he's coming from, what could be his potential volume of flights he will ask for. So I thought I was quite well prepared for the meeting. So I showed up in Hinwil at the factory, quite excited. First time I was in a factory for Formula One team. You see all these cars from the previous seasons, and everybody's busy. Very clinically, I would say. You see hundreds of engineers and so on and so forth. But a very nice, warm welcome. His first words were, "Hi, I'm Fred, and how much of an idiot you are." Literally, yeah. And I said, well, this doesn't go the way I wanted, yeah, or I was envisioned. But he said, sit down and explain you.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said, Bernard, Formula One is not a sport. It's a business platform. You have to understand it's a business platform. And by sponsoring a sport athlete where you have your logo on the helmet or on the race suit is giving you zero value. You have to understand it's about an ecosystem of sponsors, of teams, of partners, of suppliers, and it's a community. And if you want to get a return out of your investment, you need to understand it's a business platform. Chatting and having this very nice conversation, I was impressed how much time he took to explain it to me and explaining where our business and so on. And then I said, Fred, this is all nice. I totally understand. But you know what? I guess when I ask you to become part of the team, that the ticket is so expensive that it's I can't. Yeah. It's out of our budget. And I said, no, he doesn't think so. And then we had a very interesting. And I said, okay, how I get out of this? And I said, Fred, I have an idea. I said, okay, explain me. I said, you know what? In a few days is Christmas, and what I always do with my daughter, we sit down, a few weeks before Christmas, and we write together a letter, a wish list, basically. And if the wish list is not, under the Christmas tree, we blame someone else. It's we're not responsible. We put it down. So I can write this wish list. And if it's not coming, then it's not coming. We can blame someone. And I said, he was laughing and said, yeah, let's do this wish list. I like this idea. So I went back home and had not really expectations. And literally the day after, he called me, Bernard, where's the wish list? Yeah. In a few days is Christmas. I said, Mamma mia, now we are busy. How it is before Christmas. Yeah, the days before Christmas are really busy and packed. So I went to Jonathan, our sales and marketing director, said, Joe, we have to write this wish list. And then we made him a very nice poster, some drawings and really handmade and paintings on it, our wish list to Christmas, so Santa Claus. And we sent it in a very nice packing, and it was silence. And a few days after Christmas, he called me and said, Bernard, I think we can do something. And I can do even better. I was really surprised. Because even we put our number down. It's okay, this is our budget. Yeah. And we had a follow-up meeting, and he explained me, you can do way more business in this way, and the investment here, maybe we shift a bit to here, and so on and so forth. And he created, literally, Fred created a package for us. Not we created, he created for us, yeah. The money for value was obviously in front of our nose. I said, wow, this looks really good. With his promise that we do way more business out of it. This was his promise. Mm-hmm. And he said, this is simple and easy. Because in the paddock, as you said, sitting on a fire, they're the right people. And he said, of course, it's then eventually you have to make the business. But this is the platform. And if you understand the platform, it is the right way. So, and I remember we signed the contract, and I said, Fred, please explain to Nico, because obviously we had to terminate the contract with Nico, that, said, no, don't worry, I take care of Nico. You will stay friends. And literally Fred did. And then I remember the first weeks and month when we visited Sauber at a race site, on the track side, and having this paddock experience. It was literally Fred. I know he was super busy, of course, running a team, and busy at trackside, and you have all these media appointments, and then you have the practice sessions, and then the drivers and the mechanics and so on. So really busy when they're on track. But he took his time when I was at the track. He said, Bernard, come. He literally took me by hands. You have to talk to this person, you have to talk to this person, and talk to this person. That's it. So he really connected. And then very quickly afterwards, business was happened, with those people, and I learned then in a very fast way. I saw Formula One, this is a business platform. It's not sport. And then when I learned in the paddock, where you have, I don't know, I would guess a few hundreds of people. When they sit at the fire, and you are not shy and approaching people and saying, okay, who you are, what you're doing, and so on. And I learned everybody is there for business. Yeah. It's not just being there for watching cars passing by at the pit lane.
It's just an excuse to all come together, basically.
Correct, correct. And by having this very exclusive paddock process, it's an entry area, right? Actually, it's a filter that you meet the right people. Yeah. 100%. You can 100% trust when you're at the paddock, you meet the right people. And of course, it's up to you that you introduce yourself. And over time, when you are being there, and maybe you have the whole weekend experience, you meet them again and again, and then of course you can talk about the drivers. You have immediately something to talk about.
You have the golden nugget.
Exactly, it's the golden nugget.
Exactly. You have the golden nugget already given to you. Yeah.
Correct. And then it creates, and we created a lot of business out of Formula One.
Just by being in the paddock, not by Formula One, not really your relationship with Formula One, but just
the
being
sponsorship of even we said today we don't need even a logo on our car. We want to be at the fireplace. This is what it is, and it paid off 100%, And you mentioned earlier, it's about consistency. So it's not going to one race, Weekend by weekend, you get the experience and you meet the right people. So even if you buy a very expensive paddock package, I would say, and on the first look, it is expensive. It's really about money, but the value you get out of it, and being there from Friday to Sunday, having so much touch points, you create 1,000 times more value out of it. And this is really about it. And this was actually what I really am thankful to Fred, and we are still in touch after so many years, that he explained the concept. It's a business platform. It's not about the sport.
And it's funny because also you mentioned that the value is different than what that actual price is. That yes, it's an expensive ticket, and you need to be in multiple places so that you keep seeing these people over and over and over. I mean, how often are people? I mean, you're paddock, you're trackside quite often. Like, how often do you bump shoulders with these people all the time? That you know, maybe not immediately, but within the foreseeable future, that this will be either a customer or a partner or someone that I'm connecting someone else to a partner.
Correct. So I would say those people I have met, they go at least to 3-4 races a year. And they also know they meet the right people there. And I learned as well that particular team principles, they know that part of the business is to connect the people, to connect the dots. They're not just taking care of the drivers and the car and the mechanics and about tenth of seconds. Their job, like Fred's and Zach Brown's and name it, is to connect dots and bring people together. This is big part of the business. That's why I think they are also well paid because they create value.
Yeah, it's exactly. The team obviously brings some sort of value. Obviously, a winning team's going to bring some sort of value. But if you have, like you said, if you have someone sitting at that fire that can start connecting people and start connecting those dots, it's tenfold of what you would be able to do by yourself. And I also saw that same opportunity when we. You look at where Spielberg is. It's in the Styrian Alps. It's an hour from any proper civilization. I believe in the Pampa, right? Like it's in the middle of nowhere.
Even the number of hotel rooms in that area is so little. It's so small number. I think less than 1,000 rooms in this whole valley.
And so when I saw that as a huge opportunity, which is another Ritz-Carlton word. It's never a problem. It's an opportunity. It's like, how can I take whatever the situation is and flip it? And then you being, obviously sponsors that you're allowed to land there and fly there on the weekend. That's why we partnered with you, because we thought we have the places people want to stay. We can get people to where they need to. We have our global partnership with Mercedes that it's easy enough to say, hey, look at 1, 2, and 3. And like you said, yes, there's a bit of a price increase, but what you lose out on instead of driving the hour and a half or 2 hours back and forth, 2 hours there, 2 hours back.
And crowded and jammed roads.
Exactly. Within a half an hour, you're trackside. You just left the Ritz-Carlton, then you're trackside, and you're making these fireside connections.
True.
Did you realize that this year we have to now have a campfire and film and have to film it? Just be like roasting our marshmallows. And this is how it happens.
And you know what? I have met a few business owners who literally do only business within this community. Because you meet all kind of different industries. Every industry is present there. And if you really actively use this network, this ecosystem, you can really live on the business you create just in the paddock.
Or that even if you're not even that, just by meeting someone, you may be even creating an entire new value that no one ever knew. Because we were talking about traveling as well. The moment you start traveling, this is basically traveling in reverse, that everyone's coming from somewhere, bringing their perspective, and you create something completely out of it.
Actually, I met last year at the season end at the Abu Dhabi race, a guy who runs a fairly large family office. And he said, the only investments of these family offices comes out of this paddock, because he goes to 6-7 races, and you always find opportunities where to invest. That's why he said, I'm not only in this Formula One community, and I get so much business out of it, where I can invest, where I can see high returns. And he said, I meet the right people there. Business owners, you meet the right people.
You made a really good point when you said because of that price of the ticket, it does give you this, like the cardinals in the enclave with the Pope. Like there is a bit of a gatekeeping that all the people who need to make the proper decisions are in the same place, where you're not going to have you're not going to have the normal F1 fans there. You're going to have the people that are there for the specific reason of, meeting the like-minded people who are also open to adding value, people who are open to doing business because they know that that's part of that game.
And you know what was the proof as well, what I experienced at every race, even when there are those, this very exciting qualifying sessions and then you have the race, but all these people sitting in the paddock chatting. Nobody's looking actually. No, zero. Maybe you take once in a while a glimpse to the TV screen, but nobody goes trackside and really watches. They are there for making business and connecting people.
And big business too.
Yeah. Quite interesting. I'm really happy you took your time to come to our facilities here. Brand new, and we're very happy to welcome partners and friends like you here and having such a nice chat. I really enjoyed it a lot. Maybe next time we meet at the Ritz. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate time. Time is the most valuable thing we have. It's about quality time, and I can certainly say I had quality time today. So it was a good day already. And thank you for this. And hope to see you soon. And I'm very glad you shared your story, because it's all about stories, not slides. And you had very great stories about yourself, about the Ritz. And thank you for this gift. I learned a lot. And I have already some ideas, which I have to follow up. But was great. Thank you for this.
No, thank you, Bernhard. I mean, it's a huge honor to be, sitting in your brand new hangar and obviously having the opportunity to sit down and chat. So we appreciate the partnership, but I really truly appreciate the friendship. So thank you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.